Thank you very much, both for being our speaker tonight and for the very generous endorsement on the back cover of the book. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, David, and thank you all for coming here this evening. A very warm welcome to Magdalene College. I shan't be speaking for a very long time, but it was suggested that I might want to say just a little bit about why this book matters. In a nutshell, why this book matters. And insofar as I have any claim to an opinion about the book at all, it's partly because of contact with David over many years, an old family friend, and also a visit to Edwards College in Peshawar some 10 years ago, which I still remember very, very vividly. The book matters, in a nutshell, because Pakistan matters. It matters because of the position it occupies in geopolitics. It matters because it's currently one of the focal points of all kinds of moral, political, religious crisis. It matters because it has a constitution and a founding vision of rare comprehensiveness and imagination. Let me start with that last point. When Pakistan came to being, with the inspiration of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, it came into being as a society which saw itself as, yes, an Islamic society, but one which at the same time guaranteed absolutely the civic dignity and the legal standing of all its citizens, whatever their conviction. That is still there as a vision, as an ideal. And in all the contact that I've had over many years with Pakistani friends, that's the point to which so many people have kept coming back. When I spent time there 10 years ago, I remember how many conversations we had, formal and informal, around that theme. In other words, if Pakistan can work, a great many other places can work as well. If the Pakistani vision fails, something enormously significant is lost in our geopolitics. And in that vision, of course, an institution like Edwards College in Peshawar has played a very distinctive and very creative role. It's one of a number of extraordinary schools coming out of a mission history which have educated Pakistani political elites, which have educated all kinds of people, in fact, for the professions, for the sustaining of Pakistani civil society over many years. My recollection of its liveliness, its boldness, was certainly dusted off and refreshed by the very vivid and often very moving descriptions of life in the college which are provided in this book. But interwoven, of course, with those descriptions, David has given his own account of the pressures under which such institutions have been living of late. The pressures of a society which is on the edge of chaos and the collapse of the rule of law. That is now true to such an extent in Pakistan. All friends of Pakistan, I think, will find heartbreaking that there are still persons and institutions who retain their belief in what Edwards College stands for and what the Pakistani vision is about, is a sign of hope. And once again, when I've had the contact that I've had with Pakistani friends, including people from the Pakistani High Commission, I don't feel as unhopeful as I otherwise might. David's already touched, in mentioning the CIA-sponsored appendix, on the question of Pakistan in geopolitics. And I don't think I need to elaborate too much on why it is that if Pakistan works, a lot of other things work as well, and if it doesn't, the opposite. But another of the crucial themes of this very powerful book is, of course, that Pakistan's not working is not simply Pakistan's fault, so to speak. We have a history of strategic incompetence, blunder, and worse in the region. And what's written there about drone warfare seems to be one of the most important testimonies you're likely to read about the ways in which our strategies in responding to unrest and conflict and violence in the region have in fact further alienated, further distanced so many people. And I would connect what's said here with some of what's been written by a remarkable Pakistani scholar whose name will be known to many of you, that's Ahmed, who teaches in Washington. His book, The Thistle and Drone, a couple of years ago, made some similar, or his convergent points, about the strategic cost of much of what we do in the region, in alienating and deeply, deeply damaging populations in Pakistan. So that the exceptionally vulnerable position of Christians and other minorities in Pakistan is, to put it mildly, not something we have made very much better by the mode of our interventions. Against that often strategically and culturally illiterate Western intervention stands the history of an institution like the college. An institution which has sought to work alongside, to work with the grain of the society that it's in, to work with the best and most creative of the vision that inspired and still inspires many in Pakistan. And part of the challenge of the book, and its importance, to go back to where I started, part of its importance is that it has a message for us in thinking through what our involvement, our solidarity ought to be in a country like Pakistan, and what it ought not to be. The history that's related here is a history, as I say, of learning to work with the grain, learning to build relationships slowly, steadily, learning to understand how what may seem from the outside or from a distance to be an inflexible cultural and religious world can in fact, on the ground, become something very, very different, something much more creative, much more, well, let's say much less serious about itself. And I think there are episodes in the book which underline that. I think, in the light of all that, it's very important that, as David's indicated, the university takes on board some of the lessons that are here. We're currently, as a university, looking to increase our footprint in Africa and make sure that we are as involved as we practically can be in opening up opportunities to graduate students from the African continent. But I hope very much that we don't lose sight, with that African focus and the long-standing East Asian focus, that we don't lose sight of the South Asian world. It has been and still is an extremely important part of the life, the intellectual life, the imaginative life of this university. And I hope that this book will be part of a general movement that will stimulate the university to rethink how it best engages in this connection with South Asia, which needs these avenues of opportunity, these signs of promise, which the book points us towards. It's a book with, as you realise, a number of interwoven themes. The simple narrative of being there on the frontier, which is so often a frontier of fear. The simple narrative, bearing witness to the extraordinary courage, integrity, and persistence of David and his colleagues. That's the surface of the book, if you like. And that's quite something in itself, inspiring and challenging in all kinds of ways. There's the undertone of concern about what I earlier called our strategic incompetence and illiteracy in engaging with Pakistan, the way in which strategically we so often shoot ourselves in the foot where the region is concerned. There's a moving commitment to an interfaith encounter which is by no means bland or straightforward, but real and often costly. And there is, of course, another theme, a delicate one, but one that has to be named, and that is to do with the way in which institutions like Edward's College can become footballs in the power plays of the churches and the churches' hierarchies. And that doesn't make easy or edifying reading. But I know from David, privately as well as publicly, just what a cost that brings to the integrity of an institution. It's a structural problem in the life of many Christian communities in the region, which has to be faced, as I say. And I'm grateful to David that he hasn't softened the difficulty and challenge of that perspective. So many things going on in the book. And I hope I've given you some cause for seeing why and how it might matter. Not just to those of us who are already its readers and purchasers or about to become its readers and purchasers before leaving this hall this evening, but also for a wider public in the university and indeed in government. The questions raised here and the perspectives offered here are unusual, if not indeed unique. They come from the experience of someone who has been truly inside a highly complex situation in Pakistan and understood it and absorbed it with immense sympathy and immense intelligence. These are reflections which underline both the possibility and the costly difficulty of encounter between Christianity and Islam. They're reflections which remind us of constructive and non-constructive engagements with the cultural and religious world of Pakistan. Reflections which remind us that there is, as I said earlier, a vision behind the very existence and the continuing life of Pakistan that is colossally worth affirming and working with. And while there are messages here, as I said, for government, churches, the university, one of the simplest messages is that Edwards College has been a place which has built trustful relationships. When trustful relationships are built, extraordinary things happen. Not always comfortable things, but extraordinary things. We all have a role in building such trustful relationships, wherever we are, wherever we come from. And I hope that this event this evening and the launch of this very significant book will spur us all to look for and to build such relationships in our own immediate environment. Thank you very much indeed for listening. I'm very happy if there are questions. David and I will do our best with them. So, over to you.